Okay, so interestingly, right? I mean, for me personally, there was a time where I felt guilty also as a mother. And that was when I first started off. And training sometimes, if you have business, then you have income. Sometimes you don't. So I feel guilty when I see my kids' friends. They have nice big birthday parties. Like the party packs is like worth 50, 100 ringgit, and I definitely can't match that. So there's a guilt of, should I have continued in my corporate world rather than do this, so that I'll be able to give more. In fact, I remember for my son's birthday, all my kids have a big birthday when they are about 7 to 8 years old. And for my son, we had it in Kidzania. I saved the whole year so that he could have a big bash there.
Wow.
So, like, because I didn't want them to feel as if they didn't have as much as others would. Yeah, so that was the guilt I struggled with. But of course, overturning it, I learned how to bake so that I don't have to pay 200 for a cake. So, yeah, so I learned how to
Have you
bake.
delegated to them this cooking or baking skills?
Yes, they are really good. They
Wow.
have different,
Master
they have
delegator.
different skills. Yeah, so I learned how to do things myself. But definitely there was a point where people say, "Hey, let's go coffee for Starbucks." Wow, Starbucks is 14 ringgit, 15 ringgit. I drink at home only 1 ringgit. I had that type, and so I just wonder, how did any of you do you struggle with any guilt or anything like that when it comes to family, children?
Well, I think my guilt would definitely be the time, because as a trainer, we are sometimes traveling out of KL, and that takes up like 2-3 days. Occasionally, we do have training sessions which are like, 3-4 days consecutive, and that takes me away from the home. Not only that, when I come back, I'm tired. It's prepping for the next session the next day as well. So for me, the guilt is the time. And when they were children and when they were small, one of the ways that I used to help me with this guilt, because the guilt does sneak in. You try not to feel guilty, but it does sneak in when you're out there training and the 4 of them are at home and Kaka is looking after them. And what I used to do when they were kids is I'll make sure I buy something back, little toys or little treats. That was when they were small. Now that they're all grown up, I still buy things back, but it's changed. It's now food. So we are foodie. Our love language in our family is food. We love food. So, every time I come back, be it from a outstation training or, if I'm flying in KLIA, then, it's all, my go-to is always chocolates or, bakeries, things that we love. And one of the things that I also remind myself, when I'm with my kids, because sometimes in a week, we will have dinner together maybe 2 or 3 times. And I remind myself that it is presence, not perfection.
Oh, yes.
So we don't need to be there all the time with them. But the times that we are with them, we give it our 100% present, being with them. And it's doing the things that matters the most at those point of times. And I feel that has really helped.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Nice. For me, talking about guilt, actually, I didn't have guilt, as in guilt. Okay, not until I heard what Shireen said just now about the accessibility.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I also asked her just now what are the criteria for you to choose between the two, go back to sleep work or give that time and fulfill their needs at that point of time. So now that I look back, a sense of guilt in me for maybe prioritizing more for my sleep well-being than giving the time at that. So I learned something that maybe today my commitment list
Oh, another plan.
yeah, I will give that accessibility to the
Okay.
kid. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think guilt is a very big word that resonates with a lot of moms deeply, right? And it's whether we continue to pander to the guilty feeling that it grows, right?
Yeah.
So that's my constant challenge as well. Not to keep comparing what I could have done, what I should have done, etc. And sometimes hearing what Cheryl said just now, saying no to my children also becomes very important because they need to also know what mommy is doing, what kind of hard work that mommy is committed to. And this came out very, very strongly during the pandemic for me, for my children. I think before the pandemic, they used to say, okay, you know, mommy dress up nicely, go out, you know, drive the car, go to office, come back, still look nice, you know, prim and proper. And, you know, still you got all the nice things at home, etc. But when the pandemic hit, I think they saw how hard we parents work, especially we moms, right? Or during the office time, you're busy with your calls, virtual sessions, and then lunchtime you're going to be preparing stuff, right? Because there's no access outside. And that's where they start to see what we sacrifice for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this guilt thing is, I think, not so much of us, we want to do more, but I think hearing from what Shireen say, it's also for them to understand what have we done, even for your kids, right?
Mhm.
I think they would appreciate
Oh,
the
yeah.
cake you bake, and it's what you do compared to what you give me. Yeah, again, it's your effort of buying chocolates, food, or whatever. Then what you bring home. I think that's something really, really important.
Yeah, sometimes we see from one point of view, but later on find out, hey, the friends really wish their mother could bake them a cake too. You know,
Yeah,
We have
you're
to see it
right.
from the
You're
other
right.
side. Yeah.
And many people envy our lifestyle that we are
Yes.
able to spend time with our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, many of them who still need to kind of like clock in, clock out, or maybe work overtime. They don't have the. I think they may not have the luxuries of choice at times.
No, I think also sometimes it's the working moms who are in corporate jobs as well. You know, there is a different purpose for them as well, right? So they find different things, and that's where, you know, all of us are challenged and
Correct.
you know, always in that guilt mode where if I don't do this, then I can't give that. If I am here, I will lose out on that. So there's always this win-win situation. So sometimes a win 80, win 20 kind of thing.
Just
And
take
what's
what we
enough?
can.
Yeah, what's enough?
Yeah,
What is enough?
Yeah, and what you say just now is when you put a stop to this guilt, because just like, for example, work-life balance. When you're working, okay, you wish that you have a balance. When you have a balance, you wish that you are working. So that's never balance if we keep flipping between the guilt thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they say. The grass always looks greener on the other side.
Yes,
And I
it's a
think,
mindset.
you know, the children, as they grow, they also start to realize it's not really so much about how long you spend with them, but those times that you are together,
Yes.
how do we really make it matter? You know, what we plan, the conversations we have, that's more important versus having a lot of conversations, but there's no depth to it, there's no bonding to it. You know, we don't really have that connection because we're always in a hurry. And I feel they start to realize that. And I'm starting to focus on, you know, presence.
Yeah.
Being present at those moments when I'm with them
Yeah.
versus focusing on the times when I'm not with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the engagement during the time you're with them,
Absolutely.
rather than just being there in presence, but we are engaging with them.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
worst is when they're with them, but we have guilt that we have something else that we have not done or fulfilled.
Absolutely. Then we're not being present with them.
Totally.
True.